Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In previous video, we have already generated the project and also we have configured the project to connect with the database, and also we have done with the setup of JWT configurations. So if you haven't watched that video, then just go to description and check out the link. In this video, we are going to develop the sign up and sign in API. So let's quickly start with that. So as you can see, already different folders are there related to the JWT authentication mechanism is already implemented, and we have bypassed some of the APIs like login and sign up API. If I go over here, you can see this add new user API is already bypassed. It means that no validation for this one because sign up will be open for all the users, and the same way login is also will be open for the same users. So in this one, JWT part will not come into the picture. So let's quickly start with the other stuff. So first thing, let me just minimize all of these packages. And what we are going to do is we are going to create a new package. Right click on this, click on new and new package, and I'm going to create one REST. All the REST interfaces will be in this place. This is a logical separation so that you can easily identify where you put all the files. So in the REST, I'm going to create one interface, select Java class, and over here you have to select interface. And basically we are going to create for the user all user operation. So you have to keep the name in such way. So I'm going to give it a name that is user info REST. So all user related APIs will be here on. So here you can see this. Now this one is public interface and user info REST. First thing what we have to do is we have to add some of the annotation, that is @request mapping. Into this one you have to pass the path. So for this one I'm going to give the path that is /app user. So whatever I define inside this interface, I have to prefix that with /app user. Before we code further into this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create all the packages which are required and all the classes and interfaces we will create, and from start to end we are going to develop the APIs. So let's right click on this, click on this one and open another package. Create one package. This is the time I'm going to create REST simple. You can give any other name as per your choice. After this I'm going to create one more package, that is service. I'm going to create one more package, that is service simple. Okay. After this, I have already created user info REST. In REST simple, I'm going to create one class, that is user info REST simple, and this will implement user info REST. Next thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one interface, user info service, and I'm going to create one. Okay, so by mistake I've created this one as class. This is interface. After that, I'm going to create one class, user info service simple, and this will implement user info service. Okay, so now move back to the REST one. As you can see, I have created 1, 2, 3 and one more, that is 4. So REST simple, service and some service simple. We have segregated the REST and REST simple to the different folders so that we can easily identify, and we can also handle the different exception at different levels. Okay, so let's quickly start with the REST. So move back to the user info REST. Over here we have already added @request mapping. Path we have added /app user. After this I'm going to define one endpoint that is for the sign up. First we have to add a sign up one. So that will be post mapping, and for this one I'm going to give a path /add new app user, and this will return a response entity of any type, generic type. You can return a list, a message, or anything, whatever you want with a status code. Then you have to use response entity. Okay. So for this one, again, I'm going to give it the same name, and it will accept a request body. It means that whatever the parameter, the JSON I want to pass into this one, in that case, we need the data in the JSON format. Either it could be a map, either it could be a class, whatever you choose to get the data. Okay. And for this one, required is equal to true. By default, it's true, but you can also specifically mention this for true. After this, I'm going to accept the data into this user info, which we have created in the previous video. So I'm going to use this. Press Ctrl Alt L to format it. So let me scroll down and let me open this user info. So here you can see this, we have name, email, password, and other stuff. So if you want to set the data into this, whenever you pass directly from the UI while calling this API, that data will automatically be mapped into this one. That is a separate part of discussion, how the data JSON is being converted into a map and or any class, how its conversion is being done. If you are interested in knowing those topics, then please comment in the comment section that know more. So I will create a video on the particular topic, whichever you comment. So let's quickly, it's showing one problem because this interface is being implemented by user info REST temple, but inside this one, we haven't implemented anything. For that method, we haven't provided the body. So I'm going to come over here and implement method and select this one and click on OK. You can manually type it also. And over here, first thing what we have to do is we have to add a annotation, that is REST controller. So this REST controller defines that this particular class is a REST controller, and this REST controller is a combination of two different annotation, that is controller and response body. So response body is basically to specify that whatever API I define into this one, this is going to return a JSON or an XML files. Okay, XML data. And the second thing is controller. What it means is that this one enables this particular class to actually, for this class will be enabled to create the bean by the spring. Whenever the spring is started, for this specific class, the bean will be created and it will be kept into the cache. Wherever we auto wire this specific class, this user info REST or this one, then the bean of that from the cache will be injected over there. Okay. After this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to auto wire user info service. Okay. And from the user info service, again, I'm going to call the same method. So before that, what we are going to do is we are going to handle the exception over here. So try catch inside this one exception EX. If anything goes wrong, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print that exception into the logger. So for that, we have to add the logger over here also. So logger log is equal to logger factory dot get logger, and to this one we have to pass the class. So current class is user info REST temple dot class, like this. Control Alt L to format everything, and if anything goes wrong, I'm going to print that into the error log. So ex, not ex, log dot error. Into this one I'm going to type exception, then sign up, or whatever you can type like add new user. So I'm going to mention add new user. I got the exception in this one, and this curly braces basically to where you want to insert the data, whatever you want to set, like comma X. So in logger, if you want to set the particular data, like in this one, in normal, if you are going to use a system.out.println, in that case you have to concatenate the string. But in this one, whenever you are using the logger, you have to put the string, and wherever you want to specify or insert a particular string, that whatever the value of X I want to inject over here, so I have to add one curly braces. If I have to add another one more variable or one more data into this one, so in that case what we have to do is we have to add another more, And if I want to print like this one, ABC, then this ABC will be also injected over here and the exception will be injected over here. So it works in this way. Okay, so I have reverted that specific code. Next thing, if anything goes wrong, so I'm only printing the exception in the console, and rest apart from this, what I have to do is I have to send the user a generic exception, that is something went wrong. Okay, if you want to send something else, that is also fine, but I'm going to send the same because that is the standard. Most of the time, whenever you run an application, it crashes, it simply shows something went wrong. So new response entity, and to this one, I'm going to create a JSON like this, a manual JSON. So this is a message. So it will show error because we have to put the slash, what you can say, escape sequence. We mentioned it, right? So we have to put that over here. And to this one like this, something went wrong. And this will pass and the error code that is HTTP status dot internal server error. So in my system it shows like this because I have enabled that wrap text. So if I minimize this one, so it shows like this one. Can you see this? Colon double colon slash slash slash. We have to put it over. Control Alt L to format it. Let me just open Chrome over here so that I can show you how to actually fix this issue which is being shown over here. So we have to simply search online escape JSON. Free online escape JSON. Okay. So now move back over here. Let me quickly copy this and move back over here. Paste it. Escape JSON. So this JSON is now escaped. Copy it and paste it over here. Okay, so it's an extra 2 slashes. So let me just remove it. In this way, you can do it. So now here you can see this. Now the error is gone. So whatever the messages you want to escape or like put it over here, either you can put it in this way, or what you can do is you can create a map like this one, map of string comma string. Map is equal to new hash map, and in the map, whenever the exception happens, map dot put message comma something went wrong, and you can also put this map in the place of this complete message. It's going to return the same stuff. So this is another way you can do it. So to optimize the memory utilization, I'm using it this way because I have to pass only one stuff. Why? To create a complete new hash map. So I'm just not using that. I'm just showing you the different approaches. Next thing what I have to do is I have to just handle the exception over here. Next thing, simply return user info service dot add new user. Add new user is not there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this one and paste it over here. And to this one, I'm going to pass this user. It's showing the error. What I will do is I hover over into this one, create method, add new app user. So if I click on this, you can expand and you can see this. If I go to this user info service, I have auto-wired it and I have called it. So here you can see this, it's automatically created. Why? Because I have selected to import it or create it. Okay. Let me make some space over here and space over here so that it should look nice. So it's showing an error because we haven't implemented the same in the implementation of this method is not available in the user service empl. So if I go over here, this interface is being implemented by this class, but implementation is not there. So I will hover over this, click on this and click on OK. Before we start working on this, what we have to do is we have to auto-wire some of the objects which are being required in the upcoming coding. So first thing is logger, because again they're going to log as much as possible for the better understanding. And you must have heard that code without a log, it's something which you can't understand, right? So make sure you log properly, not too much. Okay, so user info service simple. So now save it. So in this one, in the get logger, you have to exactly pass the current class name. Okay. Next thing what I have to do is I need the user info repository which we have created in the previous video. So make sure you watch the previous video. Not this one, user info repository. User info repository. And if I go over this one in the DAO user info repository, we have also defined one method that is find by email. So we are going to use this also in the while sign up. Okay, I will explain why we need it. Next thing, okay, so we have to actually auto wire it. When we put auto wire, then the Spring basically find the bean related to this repository and check that particular over here. Next thing, we need the bean of password encoder. So let me define it: private password encoder, encode, and then we need the JWT service. So private JWT service, because if we need name or email ID from the token, then in that case we can extract it. As we have already defined the method which will return the email or other stuff whichever is required. So after this I need authentication manager. After this I need JWT auth filter and auto wire it. So now all the required beans I have already auto wired over here. Now let's start with the add new user. So first thing what we have to do is we have to again put the try catch block as usual. So try and catch exception ex, and this one again log.error exception in add new user, same as the previous one, and this one we are going to simply print the exception. Next thing, let me just move back to this user info rest, and I'm going to copy this part and just paste it again over here. Let me minimize it. So we are in the user info service simple, so don't get confused. Okay. Next thing, before we go further, what we have to do is we have to validate that this user info is not null and contains all the data whichever is required. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply write one method, if not validate user info, and to this one pass the user info. And if this is the case, then again what I'm going to do is, so it's showing error, right? So don't worry about that, we'll fix in the file. So in this one, next thing we have to simply change the message, that is missing required data, and the HTTP status code will be bad request. So this one, whenever you hover onto this one, you can click and go inside this and you can see the status code for this is specific, that is 400. This is a bad request. So on the basis of this, why this is important to change the status code at the UI level, we have handled different messages and different things on the basis of this one. So make sure you use the same status code, else you have to also make changes on the UI side. So if I hover over this one, create a method that is validate user info, click on this, and here you can see this one is created. First thing, change from this one from primitive type to wrapper type. Next thing what I will do is return. First thing we will check objects is non, okay, it's showing for null. Okay, so is null not, we are going to put it user info, and it's not null. In that case we will check the string utils dot has text, and inside this one we will check for dot get name. After that, I will check for string utils dot has text, and inside this one I will check for email, user info dot get email, and after this finally I will check for string util dot has text, and to this one I will check for user info password. These three are mandatory fields. So if all are true, then this one is going to return true. If any one is false, then whole sentence will be false. So first what I check is this user info should not be null. After this, we have to check this name should not be null, and get email should not be null, and password should not be null. So if these all are, if this one is null, then it will return false, and the false we are making it to true. So this will return this message, that is missing required data. After this, what we have to do is we have to check that if everything is correct. In that case, what we have to do is we have to check that if that particular email already exists in our database or not. So for that, what we are going to do is we are going to use user info repository dot find by email, and so this one we have to pass the email. So user info dot get email, like this one. And this, if I go into this one is going to return an optional user info. So let me copy this, move back, paste it over here, and give it a name, that is DB. This data is from the database. Again, I will check if DB dot is present. It means that I found the same data in the database. So in that case, what I have to do is again copy this message, paste it over here, and to this one, email already exists. So let's quickly change the message. Save it. Now the email validation is also done. Mandatory field validation is also done. After this, what we have to do is we have to create a new object. The user info, already we have the three data, that is the name is set, email is set, and the password is also set. But the password is not imported yet. As I have told you that we are going to import the password and then we are going to save it. So user info dot set password. What we are going to do is we are going to use the encoder dot encode, and into this one we are going to pass the password. So user info dot get password. So we are extracting the same password from this user info which is passed from the UI, and again encoding it and again setting into the same object. After this, what we have to do is we have to set the other details, like user info dot set is deletable is true. It means that it can be deleted by the user. This will be, as in the quick overview, I have shown you that that whenever that for a particular user is deletable is true, in that case that user can be deleted from the UI side. So make sure you also watch the quick overview video so that you can understand the overall functionality of the application, so that it will be easier for you to understand and develop the project. If you have any doubt, then please comment in the comment section, and also make sure to subscribe, because it's help us and motivate us to give or create a new contents like this. Okay, user info dot set status, and I'm going to set the status to false. So this one is inactive for now. Then again user info dot set email, and I'm going to set the email into the lowercase. User info dot get email and to lowercase, so that whatever the email I save into the database will be always in the lowercase. After this, we have to simply call user info repository dot save, and we have to pass the user info object. Save it and simply copy and paste this one. I have copied this message, and again, and this time the status code will be okay, that is 200, and into this one we have to simply mention sign up successful, or the message you want to send it. So for now I'm just putting the message sign up successful. Now save it. Now our add user API is ready. Now let's quickly move back to this one, user info rest, and let's quickly start the application. And let me open the Postman at the same time. It's starting. So let's quickly fix this. User info service. Okay. So I guess we missed one annotation, that is, if you go over here, okay, so we missed the annotation over here, that is stereotype annotation at the service. So whenever we put the annotation at the service over here, what it does is this enables this particular class for the creation of bean and being managed by the Spring IOC container. So basically it means that the bean, the object for this particular class will be created, and whenever this auto wire, we are using the auto wire, in that case the object of this one will be injected. Your another concern must be this. If not, then please try to understand this, that this user info service, this is an interface, and as we all know that we cannot create an object for the interface, then how I can auto wire an interface over here? If you know this, then please do comment in the comment section. If not, then do let me know. I will create a separate video of this, how internally it works. Okay, for now understand this. So I have added the @service annotation into this one. So this will basically create an object for this, and that will be injected into the REST template so that we can use a method presented inside this one. So let's quickly start the application. Okay, so now our application is up, as you can see this on port 8080. And in the meanwhile, also what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the MySQL. So let me quickly check the database name from here and open the MySQL. Show tables, select start from app user. As you can see, this one is empty for now. Nothing is there. Let's quickly minimize this and move back over here. And here what we are going to do is we are going to, okay, let me copy this one. So our is post API and this one is localhost 8080. On the localhost 8080, we have to go to this one, user info rest. At the class level, we have /app user. So move back over here, /app user, /add new app user. So one by one we are going to proceed. So if I go over here, if I try to send it, 403 forbidden it's giving. Okay, so let me just go to this one, body over here, select the something has changed, I guess. Body raw JSON, correct, right? In the body, select the raw, select the JSON over here. Okay, so now put the JSON like this and try to send it. Okay, so again it's giving forbidden. Name colon name, something like this. So this one is throwing 403. Let's quickly check this. So let's move back to the code. Let me minimize this one. And here we have the app user in the caps. Let's quickly check in the security config. And here we can see this app user is in the hue is small, right? So what we have to do is we have to paste it. And we have to paste it over here like this. And what we will do is we will copy this once again, and I'm going to paste it once again. And this time this U will be small and this U will be small, so that both this stuff is allowed. U in caps and U in small, these both are allowed. So what I will do is I will copy this once again and go to this one, JWT security filter, JWT filter. Into this one I will replace these all with the newer one. Now quickly restart the application, and before we restart, if we go over here, this one is caps. Okay, so let's quickly restart it, because we don't have to use the validation into this one, so that's the reason we are going to bypass it. So as in the bypassing APIs, we have mentioned this U as small. So this one is not being bypassed from the JWT. So that's the reason this one is throwing the exception. That is 403. So if I move back over here you can see this. Now the application is up on port 8080. So let's quickly minimize this. Then let's quickly clear this. Right click on this anywhere and clear all. So that whatever the logs are printed over here, we can see it. So move back over here, send it once again. Again, we are getting this 403. So let's quickly copy this whole line and let's see if this is present over there or not. Okay, so this is the exception corresponding to the this one. Cannot construct instance of user info like default exist through exception itself. Okay. So let's quickly check this one. If we have it. Yes, we have it. Add new app user. So let's quickly copy this and back to the user info rest and search for this one. Yeah, we have it. Now save it, and I guess let's quickly go into this one and say this one we have name. So let's quickly go over here, this one, purify it and send it once again. This one is throwing 403. Okay. Okay, so let's quickly check over here. Okay, so we are good. We got the exception, this one. Okay, so for this one, and again we have one other exception. So this one checks in an invalid definition exception. Cannot construct instance of com.article.hub.entity user info. So it means that it's trying to create the user info instance but not able to create it. So the instance problem is resolved over here. It's showing an exception that causing 403. So what we have to do is we have to go over here to this one entity and go over here and into this one. Either you can create a no arc constructor, that is zero arc constructor, we can say that is public user info, or the another approach to do this is let's comment this, and you can also add one @ no arg constructor, that is again from the Lambok. So this does exactly this internally. So I'm going to put this in the same way and let's restart our application and let's quickly check it. So sometimes unexpected thing happens, and that is what called exception that we have to handle it. So now here you can see this. Now the Tomcat started on port 8080. So let's quickly clear out this and let's try to hit this one this time. So here you can see that this time we got 400 and the message is missing required data. It means that only name we are passing. So if I go over here, minimize this and go to this user service ample, and here we can see this message is being thrown, missing required data. So let me quickly minimize this one. Okay, it means that this validation is failed in our case. And what is the validation? It should contain a name. It should contain one email ID. It should contain one password. So let's quickly add these all 4 fields over here. Email and password. So in the email, I'm going to simply add test@melinator.com. This is just for the testing purpose. It's not a proper email ID for any purpose, any one specific person. Okay. So melinator.com, and the password is also test. So let's quickly verify it and let's quickly send it once again. So here you can see this. Now the sign up is successful. And if I go into the database, as you can see, okay, let me quickly open, I guess I close that particular tab. So in the application or properties, we have this database name. So let's quickly use this database. Show tables, select star from app user /g. So here you can see this. Now the email is test@melanator.com. Is relatable is true, and after the name is name, and again the password is this one. This is the encrypted password. We are not storing the plain text in our database. And the third thing is false. So it means that if you try to insert manually data into this app user table from here by writing the query, in that case it will not work because the password will be not encoded in that case. So make sure if you are going that way, then you should follow this particular step. Okay, next thing, let's quickly move back and check the another stuff which we have added. So in the while sign up or while adding new user, we have added one validation, that is the same email ID. You cannot add another user. So if I go over here and if I try to send it once again, so here you can see this, we got the exception. Email already exists and the status is 400, that is bad request. So if I change the name to test1 and the email ID to test1, and the password needs to be same, or you can change the password as per your choice. So if I send it once again, here you can see this, now the sign up is successful. So if I move back over here, select star from app user, test1@melanator.com. And here you can see this, for the same text, it's generating a two different encoded text. So it is also secure in that way. As you can see, at both the times I have passed the test as password and it's showing the same. Okay. So this is just for the testing purpose. Okay. Now, next thing what we have is we have to generate a login. So login, basically what it is going to do is it is going to return the token by validating that that particular user is valid or not. So let's quickly minimize this and move back over here. And let's quickly close all. I've closed all tabs, go to project, and here first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new class which we are going to use it for the getting and setting the data for this auth request. I'm going to give it a name auth request. So in the entity I'm going to create one more. Right click on this, click on new Java class, and I'm going to give it a name auth request. Hit enter. Over this, I'm going to add some of the annotation, that is @data, @all arg constructor, @no args constructor. And into this one, we need three different fields, that is private string email, private string username, private string password. You can also take all of this stuff in the map, but I'm going to prefer this one so that it is easily readable and easy to use. Either you can put the manual getter and setters, but I have added a constructor by this one. The constructor, all arg constructor, and no arg constructor, and the data for the getters and setters. So we are going to use the same. I'm not going to explicitly generate the getters and setters for these fields. Okay. Next thing what we have is we have to go to this user rest. And over here, we are going to define one more method, that is for sign up. So let's quickly make some space, @post mapping, and the path for this one will be /login. And response entity, question mark again, so that generic return type, anything can be returned. And this is login. It's going to again accept one request body, and required is true. And it's going to accept one auth request object. So you can pass only these three values. Now next thing what you have to do is we have to go to the user info REST temple, and here it will show the error like this. So hover over this, implement methods, select this one, click on OK, and it will be implemented. You have to simply copy all of this term from the add new user, move back over here, paste it, and here you have to simply copy this login, and over here in the exception you have to change this one, exception and login, and again copy this, paste it over here, auth request, and paste it over here. So now our login at the REST temple is ready. So this is going to return response entity of type login, accept the auth request, and same I'm passing to the user info service. It's showing an error because this method doesn't exist in the user info service. So click on this one. How it comes is hover over this, click on this, and click on this one. So if you don't get that option, so what you have to do is you have to simply come to this one, user info service, and you have to type this much only, not too much, only this much. Next thing, we have to go to this user info service sample. Again, over here, you will see the error like this. So let's minimize this one, hover over this, implement methods, select this login, and click on OK. So this one is basically added above this validation method. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one, and let's move this below this. Again, I'm going to copy this catch block with the error message and add the try block by ourselves like this. Make some space, copy the login and paste over here. Inside this one, what we are going to do is we are going to simply call this authentication is equal to authentication manager. We have already created the object, that is @auto. We have accessed the object from the IOC container, and inside this one we have to pass call the object authenticate, and this one we have to pass new user password authentication token, and to this one we have to pass auth request dot get email dot to lowercase auth request dot get password. This will return an authentication object. After this, what we will do is if authentication is not equal to null and an authentication dot is authenticated, then what we are going to do is we are going to create and return the object. If this is not the case, if this is not authenticated, in that case, we are going to simply throw an exception, that is invalid user. So else we will throw an exception, throw new user not found exception. Into this one I will simply type invalid user request. Save it. Once the authentication is done, next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for user info details, and we will check that the status is enabled or not. So user info details, into this one we will simply call authentication dot get principal, and this will return the user info details. So this is we have to manually convert this one. Typecasting is required. So if I do like this, and if I do like this, all the details will be converted to the user info detail. This is the class which we have created. If I click on this here, this is the name, password, status, and the authentication. So we are returning the status also. So that's the reason we can fetch it. Okay. So after this, what I will do is I will check if true dot equals ignore case and user info details dot get status. If this is the case, in that case, what we have to do is we have to simply generate the token and return it. Else, what we have to do is we have to return the message and wait for admin approval. So let me just copy this one so that it should save a bit of time. Okay, so into this one, let me just remove this. Something went wrong with wait for admin approval. Save it, and this is a bad request, not the internal server error. Okay, if this is not the case, in that case what I have to do is, let me just delete this extra line. In that case, I have to return a new response entity with the token. So let me quickly paste it, and let's quickly change the message, the key name to token, and in the values, what I have to do is let me just remove these all, and I'm going to concatenate JWT service dot generate token, and into this one we have to pass the email ID. So auth request dot get email dot to lowercase, and after this what I'm going to do is I'm going to concatenate plus and this the closing JSON symbol, okay, slash double quotes JSON close, and it's done. Okay, so auth request get email dot to lowercase. Don't worry about this symbol. This is just denoting that line has been changed. Here you can see this. Here you can see this. So it is a continuous word. Auth request dot get email. So let me quickly show you like this. Let me delete this much space. Now here you can see this. It's like this one. I'm trying to fit this particular stuff into the JSON format. So make sure you do the comma and everything in the same way, else you will be in trouble. So let's quickly check this if login is working fine or not. So let's quickly restart our application and let's check the login part with the username and password. So I started the application and let's quickly copy this one and paste it over here. Change this one to Postman body and change to raw. Select JSON, minimize it, and our application is up on port 8080. Let me just clear this. Move back over here. Change this one to login, and into this one the expected part is username and password. Let's quickly move back over here and let's check what is exactly email. Email we are trying to fetch, not the username. So move back over here, change this one to email, and we missed one comma over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the database and copy this one, test@melinator.com. Paste it, and I'm going to put one wrong password and send it. So here you can see this, something went wrong is being returned. So let's quickly move back over here and let's check this one. So now the database query is being executed by the email ID. User account is locked. Authentication. Okay, so exception is being thrown over here, but that particular exception is being printed into the console, not being returned to the user. As we have copied the message, right? So it's returning the something went wrong. If you want to populate that specific message to the user, in that case, we have to make some of the modification. This is not the login. Okay, authentication rate. Okay, so we have to handle the different cases of the exception. Okay, so let's quickly make a small modification over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some other catch blocks. That is for bad credentials exception. If this is the case, in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the another response message. I will catch this exception and return the proper message. Okay, so this is not internal server's error. This will be basically unauthorized. And to change the message also, something went wrong will be not the proper message for in this situation. In this situation, it will be invalid credentials. Okay, another catch block I am adding for username not found. So catch username not found exception, that is again ex, and again paste it. Okay, so let's quickly delete this. After this, I have added the another one. Let's make some space. Make some space. Okay. This will be this is basically we will simply throw the exception or throw ex, user not found. In that case, it will go into this exception block. It will print the exception and it will simply return something went wrong. So let's quickly restart the application and let's see if this one is working for me or not. The important is this one. It's always user is going to try with the invalid. So let's quickly move back over here. Our application is up and started on port 8080. Let's quickly clear this, move back over here, send it. Okay, again we got this, something went wrong. Okay, so let's quickly check this, what happened this time. Authentication exception, user account is locked, it's being thrown. Let's try with the valid stuff, test and send it. Again we got the same issue, I guess. User account is locked. So this one is throwing the exception, that is user account is locked. So how to fix this issue? So what we have to do is we have to simply minimize this and go over here for this one, and in this one user info details, we have implemented user details, and we have observed that whenever in the previous video we have created some of the predefined override method. So by default we haven't focused on this one, but these all are passing as return false. Is account is non-expired, then this one is false. Is account is non-locked, then this one is false. So basically this is locked in that case. So what we have to do is we have to simply change this one to true for all of these methods, the return values. So now quickly save it and now restart our application and let's check now. So our application started at Tomcat, started at port 8080. So send this, and here you can see this again we got 500 internal server error. So let's go and check what exactly we got. This time here you can see that the specific key byte array of 240 bits, which is not secure enough for any JWT HSAC SHA algorithm. It means that that account is locked issue has been resolved. Next thing, this issue is basically due to the insecure key. So what we are going to do is we are going to put another random key which needs to be secured, more secure. Okay. So let's quickly search for that one. Yeah, this is the key, right? So like this, I'm going to put a longer version of key. And let's try now. Save it. And let's try now. If this works. Start it and send it once again. And here you can see that this worked. But this time it returned also 500. So what we have to do is we have to simply go over here. I guess while copying and pasting it, we have missed the status code. So while returning, we have to return OK, that is the 200. Save it and restart our application. And let's quickly check it. Clear it. Now go over here and send it. And now here you can see this. Now the status code is 200 and it's returning the token in the proper JSON. Let's quickly copy this one and let's see what exactly this contains. JWT.io. Come over here. Over here, you can paste your token and you can see what exactly it contains. So in the subject, you can see the email ID is added and the estimate issue date and estimate expiry date. You can see this, right? Next thing, now the token is generated. Next thing what we have to do is, now the login and sign up part is done. As you can see this. After this, what you have to do is, as I mentioned that, while in this user info, let me just open that entity, user info, we have one column that is relatable is true or false. It means that if this one is false, then that particular row will be deleted. What if the one particular user log in and delete all the users. In that case, we need to have one specific record that cannot be deleted. And if it is deleted again, whenever you run the application for the first time, it will automatically be added. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply close all tabs, and let's quickly add a new one package, and I'm going to give this one data, the folder name. Inside this one, I'm going to create one class that is data loader. And this class is basically going to implement application runner. And when you hover over this will implement one method, that is run. So whatever the logic you want to execute, like why exactly I have implemented this application runner. This is application runner if I go into this one, this is an interface, and this contains only one run method. So whenever we implement this method, we have to override one run method. And why we are using this interface? Because whenever we run our application for the first time, this is a Spring Boot interface. So it will execute this particular implementation inside this run for the first time whenever our application is up. If I turn it down and again I run the application, service up the application, then again this file will be executed. So in that case, first thing what we have to do is we have to add the annotation that is component, so that the bean for this one will be created. After this, I need the object of the repository because I also have to perform the save operation. So user info repository, user info repository, and after this I need the password encoder, private password encoder. Inside this run, the task is very simple. If not user info dot find by email, and to this one I'm going to give an email ID that is admin@test.com dot is present, because this is going to return an optional. So if this is not present, in that case only we have to print the object, right? We have to save the object. So user info is equal to new user info dot set email. Basically for this one I'm going to add another user. Okay, like this one. Again, I'm going to copy this and paste over here. And this user info dot set is deletable to false. This cannot be deleted. User info dot set status to true. User info dot set password to encoder dot encode, and to this one I'm going to set this as admin, and simply call this user info repository dot save and pass this user info object. After saving it, I'm going to print this one into the console. So why I'm adding this outside this one, so that if that particular user is not printed or added into the database, in that case also I want to print the same into the logs so that you can see and log in. You can log in with email. This is not the this is not a suggested way, but for the learning purpose I'm adding it over here. So if you lost the access, then again you can gain the access by viewing this for your application. Okay, so admin @ like this one, and password is, this is just for the learning purpose, guys. Okay, this is not the suggested standard. So if I rerun the application, and you can just observe the console this time. we can see if this one is particularly executed or not. So here you can see this. Now the insert query is executed, insert into app user, all the fields are executed, and you can log in with email, this one, and the password as this one. So let's quickly try this. And here you can see this. Now the token is generated. Let's quickly check into the JWT.io. And here you can see this. admin@email.com. Next thing, let's quickly check into the database. So here you can see this. Okay, so we forgot to set the name. Okay, so let's quickly move back over here, minimize it, and let's quickly set the name. User info.set name to email. Admin. Let's move back over here. Delete from user, from app user, where ID is equal to 3. Okay, now select star. Now we have only 2 records. Now simply go and rerun the application. It will insert the new admin@email.com. Okay, so you can see that this is inserted again. So let's quickly check this. So here you can see this is relatable is false, but when we sign up by using the add new user, so is relatable is true. So it means that these 2 users can be deleted, but this can't be deleted. And you can see the same username and password into the console as well. So if I go over here, you can see this. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. In the next video, we will develop another APIs, the remaining APIs related to the user info. So just stay tuned, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching.